why strategy fails without structure. A very important key topic to discuss, I would say, in this age, because leadership often faces a lot of uh, problems, I would say, a lot of resilience issues with the disruptions going on around the world, with maybe geopolitical issues, maybe financial issues, maybe internal crisis, maybe staff, internal politics, a lot of issues. But if you don't have a clear strategy about it, everything is going to fail eventually with time. And to discuss on this wonderful topic, we have a fantastic guest who is joining us from Cameroon. And it's lovely to see you, Esther. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well.
You. Thank you so much. I'm doing great. And how are you?
I am good too. Thank you for asking, Esther. Esther is joining us from Cameroon. Would you like to say something about Cameroon?
Yes, of course. It's like Africa in miniature. So if you can go to anywhere in Africa, come to Cameroon, you have everything. The
Oh, really?
landscape, the people, the food, everything is in Cameroon. So yeah, it's actually in the heart of Central Africa. So yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
guys are all welcome.
Oh, nice, nice. Thank you. I mean, that speaks a lot about Cameroon. You are very positive personality, and it's great to see you. I mean, when you talk to people, when you interact with people, you understand their mindset and strategy, how things are going to be about in the next few minutes. I mean, that's the vibe you're creating. So I would believe that all the people in Cameroon are like yourself, happy
Yes,
and
yeah.
peaceful.
Okay, so it's a range. What you see is what you get, I think. What you want is what you see. When you
Yeah.
come, just be open-minded and
Mhm.
feel like you're in the African continent. So you're different. How can I say? Your different perspectives should
Mhm.
be neutral. When you're coming, just come to say, okay, I'm in Cameroon, this is how it is. Don't try to seek other things or try to find, just
Yeah. Yeah.
accept the country the way it is, and the country is going to accept you too, and you're going to have the best.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. Fortunately, I've connected with Esther, I think last month for the session, for the wonderful article which you have written on our NLG Global Digest magazine. Um and it was titled Why Strategy Fails Without Structure. And it was a great article to read about a practical insight from Mitchburg McKinsey lens for leaders who actually want results. And the first part was actually great, and the second part, she had a full framework on that particular session, on that particular article. And if you have not read it, or those who are listening to me online, if you've not read it, please go to our website, www.nlgtalks.com, and download I would say, the third edition. And you will find Esther's article in that particular edition. And if you want any links, do let me know. I'll send you the links as well. Do connect with Esther on LinkedIn as well. She's very active, and she replies to you within 5 minutes. I assure you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
So,
reaching out. And, I was really grateful, and I really appreciate your reach out, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here and exchange with you. I'm so grateful for that.
thank you. Honor is ours. Let's talk about the article. I mean, you have given a good insight up for the leaders who actually are leading in organization. I would say this is a leadership lesson in total. Let's talk about strategy itself. Why strategy is important? Okay, we all plan. I mean, the leaders plan. Every manager plans how to run the department. Why strategy is important, and how do you see strategy the core aspect in an organization, which I think would actually be successful in some cases, and it would also be ending in disaster in some cases. So, what is your take on strategy?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. First of all, I would like to give basic definitions so that we get on the same wavelength. I hope that's okay for you.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So, an organization is kind of like a coordinated system of resources designed to accomplish specific objectives. And the strategy can be defined as a coherent plan that defines how the organization is going to achieve its objectives in the long term. So the main reason why strategy fails in organization is misalignment, because we might have clear plans about what we want to achieve. We might have kind of like specific objectives and clear, objectives, like smart objectives. But if there's no structure, no processes, no incentives, the strategy might not, be implemented or deployed. Also, one of the most important things that we have to understand is that alignment in organization means that everyone and everything in the organization is working towards the same goal in a coordinated way. This alignment
Mm,
ensures that all the resources are supporting the same direction. So when there is no alignment, it's kind of difficult for the strategy to be deployed and implemented.
mm. So you're telling me that strategy is a direction, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a direction.
So yeah, it's a direction. So when you have clear pathway, clear direction, and you exactly know what to do. So you started the conversation when defining an organization is important. Why strategies is important in an organization. Do you want to elaborate on why strategies fail in an organization?
Yeah. So definitely when there is a misalignment, that is
Mm,
when the structure is not well designed, when the people are not aware of the strategy, when the processes do not reflect clearly the strategy, then it automatically fails. Let's say, for example, you want to go digital as a company, but you don't put in place the resources necessary for the company to acquire digital tools. You don't train your staffs. You don't
mm,
invest in all that can help you attain your strategy. Then at the end of the day, your strategy will fail. Even though your intention might be good to improve your company, but the system or the structure is not favorable, so your strategy will fail.
mm,
Exactly the same as not being able to understand the market, because sometimes you plan that you're going to do achieve one or two objectives, but the market or the external environment can hinder your strategy, and you should be able to have backup plans or backup structures or systems that think of all the risk that are that covers your strategy before you implement them. But if you
mm.
don't think about the risk, obviously the external environment can influence your strategy and it might not even, succeed. Therefore, it's going to fail.
Yeah, I mean, you have nicely written in the article. Let me read out the first few lines from the article itself. Most strategies do not fail because they are wrong. They fail because the organization was never designed to carry them. I mean, would you like to elaborate on them? Because this is a core aspect. If the organization is not designed to carry those strategies, it completely ruins the whole structure of the organization. Would you like to share some thoughts about it?
Definitely. So the real strategy is going to appear in the practical actions. That is
Hmm.
how the teams are organized, how the decisions are made, what the projects are being funded, and how the leaders also behave in the organization. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is that many organizations already have their strategy. They already know what they want. They already have an idea of how they should act in the market or in the environment. But if they don't align this strategy with the structure, if they don't put in place an organization designed to, realize or deploy this strategy, things might be really, really difficult. So that's what I was trying to explain at the beginning of the article, to tell the leaders that your ambition is real, your ambition is realistic, but everything is in the execution. Does your organization has the necessary tools in order to implement the strategy that you design or not? So yeah, that's what I can
Yeah, I
say
mean,
about that.
you're right. You're right in the when you mention that the organization should know exactly what they want, what they are doing. I mean, if they don't
Mhm.
know what they're doing, then the strategy is completely a disaster. But if they know what they're doing and they align it with the right stakeholders, as you said, the stakeholders, including from top to, I mean, including top to bottom, all the stakeholders, maybe middle level managers or top CEOs or even the line managers. So if they're all aligned to the vision and strategy of the company and the organization, I think that strategy is a winning factor for the organization. How do you see that misalignment taking place in organization? I mean, are there really misalignments in organization, or do you see
Of course,
that most of them are aligned and some of them are misaligned?
they might be, and as I mentioned in the articles, we have different layers that
Mhm.
must align. And when one of these layers is not aligned, actually the strategy is dangling, is subject to failure. Because when you look at the different layers that I presented, for example, when you talk about the strategic core is going to bring out the heart of the organization, where it's going to, who is in power, who is giving the direction. Then the next layer is going to be the designing and the coordination. That is the structures in place, the mechanism, everything that translates the strategy into action. But we also have the capacity or the capability, that is the skills, the staff, and all the actors that come into place in order to help the organization deliver results. We also have the other layer, which is the function, that is the systems that are put in place, the HR who is going to be in charge of recruiting the amazing personnel, the IT that's going to ensure that we are digitally okay, the finance department that is going to, check out if we don't have excess, or if we have at least fundings enough to finance our projects, the legal department also. And finally, we have the behavioral layout. And this layout is much more important, and it's much more subtle. That is, it is very invisible sometimes. That is the culture, the network, the habit, and the culture of the organization as a whole. So when these different layers are structured and are aligned, we can only succeed. But when
Uh,
one is not aligned, definitely there's
mhm.
a problem. So misalignment comes when one or more of the strategic layers, or the layers of the organizations, is not aligned with the rest. For example, we might have a great strategy. The team or the top leaders will design a great strategy for the company, but we might not have the people capable of executing that strategy. Maybe it's that we don't have, our staff is not skilled enough. So what do we need to do in order for us to attain or have positive results? It will be to train our staff. So that enables exactly the how can I say, the managers or the leaders to know exactly where are we misaligned, and what can we do about it. So
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot of areas there. You mentioned culture, you mentioned people, you mentioned alignment. Let me start with the culture of the organization. I mean, that is, I think, one of the crucial part where people leave the organization, people leave, uh, and people join the organization. Some culture are so good that people are attracted. We say that it's the best place to work. So it's not about the freedom what you're giving in an organization to your staff, but if you're not culturally aligned to what the people are expecting, or you are not portraying the structure or the culture of the organization to the staff, that also is one of the factor of the failure for that particular organization. You mentioned people, the misfit of the people. If you have not hired the right people for the right role, as you mentioned, it's also going to end up in disaster. Do you feel that people is so important, because that's where the whole make and break thing happens? If you hire, first of all, how do you know that this person is the right fit for the role? That is the biggest question. That is the question. If you crack that particular question, then I think 90% of the thing is solved. That is one area. And as a management consultant yourself, Do you advise companies? How do you want to hire your people, your right set of people? As a management consultant, do you feel that people in an organization are crucial assets for the organization?
Definitely, definitely. The people, they are the ones making the organization. And if you don't have people, then you don't have an organization, because as I
Yeah.
said, an organization is like a coordinated system of resources, and people are the human resources, so they are the vital resources of the company. You might have everything, but if your people are not good, if you don't have anyone, then you can't achieve nothing. So as a management consultant, I came across certain issues where I really discovered that the people are so much important, but also the culture of the company is very vital. As I said, the culture is something that is not tangible, it's not visible. So it needs to exist in a kind of documented form. For example, at my consulting firm, when we onboard the client or when you onboard an employee, one of the things that the employee needs to do is to understand the culture the first week. Like, here is our culture, here is what we do, here is what we don't do in the company. For example, we don't accept gifts from clients. So that is one thing that you need to tell the employee, like, you don't have to accept gifts. And sometimes they'll ask like, why don't you accept gifts? I just tell them, or my collaborators tell them, that when you accept a gift from a client, it's like you're already having a moral debt towards the client. So when he's going to tell you, oh, do my business plan for, we do it, you can't say no, because you have already, you already have a debt, a moral debt towards him. So another thing that I realized while working with some clients was that at the beginning of my career, I had a feeling that the ideology that my Mitzberg talks about was not tangible, or was not something that could be done, because culture, as I said, is very volatile, it's not fixed, or it's not tangible. So I had this client who had how can I say it, catering services. So in her enterprise, the culture is that no employee eats while they are serving. So they can go at an event to serve, and clients, the employees eat something. And she told me that that's how she onboards her client, her employees. No, everyone already knows what the culture is, and everybody aligns to that culture. And that is what leaders must do before you hire someone, or before you take people in the organization. You first of all need to design the culture of the organization. How do you want people to interact? How do you want how do you even want to lead them? So all those things must be designed before embodying or embarking on a team or recruiting. And one thing about how do you know that a person is fit for the role, it's quite easy, because when you have your culture already set, when you have your strategy already in place, when you really know where you are going to, it's easy for you to know with whom you are going there. So when you get a CV, or when you get the a motivational letter, you can already see through that only who is good and who is not. And I've had the experience while I was recruiting last year, and I realized, like, oh, I clearly knew what I wanted, who I wanted. So when I saw the CV of my assistant, I was like, this is the girl. I didn't want to know about anyone else because she presented herself clearly as someone I wanted to work with. And I also think that in the job market today, we have a lot of people who are searching for jobs, but there are some talents that need to be, uncovered or discovered. So when you're going also to the job market, or when you're searching for collaborators, one of the things you need to know is that sometimes the collaborator might not be absolutely fit for the role, but with a little bit of training, with a little bit of accompaniment, I don't know, they can, and unleash their potential and provide great insight and bring so much to the organization, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have covered key aspects there. I would say it's like a marriage takes place when you hire a person. and you exactly know that person is fit or not. Yeah. So culture, I love the part where you mentioned you have to set first your culture and then start the onboarding. I mean, people in the organization, they don't realize this fact and they just go and start up their hiring policies, build policies, policies after policies, KPIs after KPIs. And they you assume that the people who are joining the organization follow those. It's not like that, as you mentioned. You first have to build a culture of where it's not a one-way thing. It's a bridge between the employee and the employer. It's fulfilling both requirements. That's why I mentioned marriage, because that's a perfect example where a husband and wife both are involved, both understand each other. Yeah. So uh, that's the point where I come to your the next set of questions where you mention uh, a, a point in the article. Strategy does not live in PowerPoint decks. I mean, that's another striking point in your article. Uh, People often start the meeting by just opening a PowerPoint slide, or these days an AI tool, just to showcase some kind of a feature and to lead the meeting. How do you want to elaborate on that particular statement where you mentioned
Yeah,
it's
that's
yeah, it's not about PowerPoint decks. Would you like to share something?
yes, definitely. You know, as I said at the beginning of the year, or sometimes at the end of the year, leaders will come around and they'll say, "Oh, let's design a strategy for the next coming year, or let's do a marketing strategy or whatever." And they have really good PowerPoint decks. You know, everything is on point. The presentation is good, but that's not the real strategy. Actually, that's just a document on the paper. And a strategy will only appear when those ideas are put in action. That is, everything must be actionable. For example, the strategy is going to lie in how you decide to budget, or how you decide to allocate resources. Because at the end of the day, you might have your slide, you might have your presentation, but if you don't allocate the resources where they need to go to, then your deck or your presentation means nothing. And also the strategy that you're putting in place, that is, that you're not even respecting what you said, but what you're doing is not even documented, so you don't even have a backup plan, or nothing. I mean, it's just like the navigation en vue, as you say in French. It's like you're on the sea, you don't even have a direction, you're just going. While if you respect your strategy that was on the decks, if you respect what was written before and allocate the resources as they are, you have a backup plan. Your document or your strategy or your PowerPoint deck is kind of like a reference on which you stand. But if you don't, then it's just a pure document, it's just a pure, beautiful presentation that has no impact. So, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think we have one management consultant called Alfred Chandler, who said structure follows strategy. So you need
Hmm.
to put in place a structure that allows you to deploy your strategy. Without it, is
A
failure,
disaster.
I
Yeah,
think. And
exactly.
sometimes most companies don't even fail because they don't have these decks, or they don't do these meetings at the end of the day or at the end of the year. But they fail because there is no structure actually that supports that strategy.
Yeah, it comes to the basic point. You should know exactly what you're doing. And if you don't know exactly what you're doing, then strategy, PowerPoint decks, all those presentation fails. You have backed up your article with a wonderful Minch Perks view of organization, which differs from McKinsey's 7S framework. Uh, you have nicely broke down into seven, I think, 7 steps, 7S framework. Would you like to share in short about the McKinsey 7S framework in your article, which you have mentioned?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say that I'm a great fan of Henri Mitzberg, Professor Henri Mitzberg, and I feel like I'm his daughter. Because I really like his teachings, and I like the way he's a kind of a rebel, and brings out I mean, he helps us see management in a very different light. I'm really one of his students. I follow his teachings, and it was a pleasure for me to see the link between the Mackenzie 7S framework and his work with the component of organization. So one of the things that I really understood about Professor Andy was that he mainly focuses on the organizational structure. So he explained that every organization is made up of 5 parts that work together to produce results. And these 5 parts are the strategic apex, that is top leadership. We also have the middle management or the middle line, that is the managers, etc. And the operating core, that is a third part, which focuses on the employees who produces the work. We also have the technostructure, that is experts who help the organization design processes and systems. And finally, the support system, that is the staff, the RH, the IT, the finance department, etc. So his model helps us to understand how work is divided, how authority flows, and how different parts of the organization coordinate their activities. And Mitzberg approach explains definitely how organization is built and how the internal structure operates. The Mackenzie 7S framework is also one of uh, an amazing tool that I use and that I really appreciate because it presents 7 elements that work together for an organization to be successful. That is, they have 3 hard elements and 4 soft elements. The hard elements of the strategy include the hard element includes strategy, structure, and systems. These elements are called hard because they are tangible, they are clearly defined, and they are easy for managers to control or modify. So you can easily control the structure, the system, the strategy. But when it comes to soft elements, they include the staff, skills, um, style, and shared values. And these elements are considered soft because they are related to people, behavior, organizational culture, and capacities. They are less visible and more difficult to, measure or change. The idea behind the Mackenzie 7S framework is that organizations perform well when all the 7 elements are aligned and support the strategic objectives. And the difference between the two approaches, that is the one of the Professor Mitzberg and the Mackenzie framework, is that Mackenzie is going to bring out how the organization must align in order to execute a strategy successfully. And Mixbird brings in how the organization is composed and how it's really organized and how the work is organized in order to attain these strategies successfully too. And in other words, Mackenzie is bringing us the how the organization is going to function effectively and adapt to change, while Mitzberg is presenting the architecture, how the organization is designed, how it's built. So that's a little difference that we have between the both tools, but each are
Mm.
also used in order to help organizations design and align their strategies with their with their resources and to attain the definite objective that they try to achieve.
Mm. I mean, both the frameworks are practically possible in organization. I like more the McKinsey approach, where you split down each layer into, I think, 7 steps. Uh, One of the areas which you mentioned was the coordination between departments. I mean, you mentioned HR function, IT, finance, operations, all these departments uh, functioning like a team. But the challenge is when they start functioning in silos. Silos means each particular department functioning as their own particular department without communication to the other department. Now, we all know that every department cannot survive alone. HR cannot survive alone without finance. If
Yeah.
finance doesn't approve the budgets or for hiring and firing or maybe training, HR cannot survive. Finance alone cannot survive if sales department or the marketing department or the sales department or the operations are not bringing in revenue. So each department is I would say is connected to other department. But the challenge is internal politics ruin, I would say, strategies within the department, and every department starts to play as a silo department. Would you like to share some thoughts on your experience as a management consultant when you have seen organizations? Because in your vast experience, you have seen many organizations having multiple departments. How important it is to have a coordination between all the departments?
Thank you so much for the question. It's an amazing question, actually. Yeah, because it's very, very important for all the departments to work together. And we really see this problem when the organization doesn't define clearly the vision. So
Mhm.
everything starts from the vision of the organization. What is the vision? What is in French they say quelle est notre volonté ici? That is what is our desire? What is the volonté? I don't know how you say it. What is our desire actually with this
Yeah,
company?
maybe outcome
Because
or what is the result? What is our
yeah, what is the
result?
result that we want? Because
Yeah.
a company can live 99 years. In Cameroon, when you register a company, it can live 99 years. And
Okay.
this means your company can live after you. And that's why the most important thing for a company is its vision.
Mm.
Because when the vision is clearly defined, all the departments will work together in order to attain that vision. But in case there is not a clear distinction or a blurry vision, when there's a blurry vision, all the departments will work individually because they have no link. There is nothing that is bringing them together. And one of the problems that I love to solve with organization is actually this problem when they don't have a clear vision, when everyone is doing his own things, when the departments don't collaborate. So I like to come in and bring all the stakeholders together and ask them, like, where do you want to go to? In 99 years, where do you want to be? In 150 years, where do you want to be? Because we see companies like McKinsey and Company who are existing, I think they are almost 100 years or more. They have been in existence and they have faced all the economic difficulties, they have faced all the pandemic, whatever that came to, they have been able to overcome this because they have a clear vision. We also have Coca-Cola and other brands that have been here for a very long time before we were here, and surely we will live and they'll still be here. So it's very possible for organizations to grow. It's very possible for organizations to expand, and that's why all the departments must work together in collaboration. And in case they don't, that's why I intervene and try to see exactly where does the company wants to go to, who are the people working here, and what do they want to achieve, maybe collectively and even individually. Because sometimes we know as corporations they work independently because they have also their personal goals that they are trying to achieve that might not even be the goals of the company as a whole. So how do we try to bring all this together? And sometimes the most important factor is the people and is the person leading. Is That's why McKinsey talked about the style of leadership. That style of leadership is very important in order to bring in order to join the departments, because when you have a great manager, when you have a great CEO or whatever who knows how to align the departments and who knows how to bring people together to work together, then it's easier, you
Mm.
see. But when we have a manager who doesn't really understand where the company is going to, it's really difficult for him to also align, because the HR might be I don't know, a little headstrong, so he needs to 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 talk to him and be able to get to the same level of communication with him. And same with the chief of the finance department, trying to build the relationship and trying to bring them together so that they can impact the company for the good and for them to attain the vision of the company, because that's what we're talking about. When there's no vision, when there's no clear objectives, the department would likely, you know, the department will work independently. They don't have anything in common, actually. Just the
Right.
fact that they work for the same company, but that, apart from that, there's no link between them. So,
Right. I mean, you mentioned brands, big brands creating legacy. It's not about how if I mean how do you perform on your daily routines. It's about creating legacy. It's about the length of the organization, 99 years, 100 years. Would you want to see after you how the organization survives? So it's that connect, as you mentioned, rightly mentioned. It's that connect and it's that strategy which is if which should be right from the top level to the lowest level, inculcated inside every individual. And you mentioned another thing about the silos and the departments, how important it is to have all the departments work together. Uh, I also feel that there is a lot of education in this particular field required. It's not about educating your CEOs or C-suite level, but also the middle managers. I would say the middle managers are very important in organization because they are people who are craving to grow within the organization. But if the organization is not supportive, or if that organization is not giving them what exactly they require, then people might fall away and people might try to switch their jobs. So, how do you see middle managers being important? And also, you feel that do you feel that it's important for everybody to be motivated? And how do you see motivation being a very important factor? In short, would you like to share something?
yeah, great question. I would like to share my experience working at Elecnor Cameroon. It's a Spanish company that is based here, and we were working to build. I mean, it was a company that was part of the Nashtiga program. So I realized that at Elecnor, it was present in more than 60 countries, like a company present in more than 60 countries. And could easily see the role of middle managers because they are quite important for the functioning of the organization as a whole, because they ensure that the bottom does the work and they report clearly to the top. So the middle managers are actually like the link, or the line that joins all stakeholders. And it's very important for them to clearly understand also their role and the environment in which they are. Because I had an amazing boss, Madame Concha, who was like kind of like the administrative director, who was really able to join all the departments and all the other middle managers. And I saw how she was working and how she was, engaging with them, like, training them and empowering them for them to be able to also empower the others below them. And it created kind of like a chain that made the work not end, not stop. So at the point in time, the work will never stop because we always had backups. The objectives were always attained. And even us at the finance department, where we had to present reports at the end of each month for the country, for example, and all the countries had to present their reports. We never had a moment where one country will send its report at the end of the month or at the end or the beginning of the next month, because everything was quite structured, everything was quite presented, the processes were clear. So middle managers are very important in the organization, and even Professor Mitzberg talked about them because they are kind of like bringing all components together. And it's also very important for us to know that when you're a leader in an organization, or when you're leading a team, you need to create a space where people can open up and share, because sometimes the resources or the decisions are not taken by the middle managers. But when they can present the ideas from the bottom to the top, when they can really, they're kind of like the people who align actually
Yeah,
the strategy, because when they are able to, present the information that come from the bottom to the top, it's easier for the top to, implement them and satisfy all parties. And also my experience there made me understand that a company is a living structure, or
mhm,
an organization is a living being. It's actually living.
correct.
And McKinsey helped us with his 7S framework to see the volonté, that is, what is the desire of the company, how does the company put in place structures, also the intelligence part, that is the systems must be very intelligent, and the company should not rely on an individual, or on a group of people. That is, the organization must be able to have systems that enables him to deploy itself without or with the same people. And also we have the harmonization. It's very important to harmonize and have shared values where everyone knows the value of the company, and create um, an environment where the employees feel at home. For example, when I started working at Electron Cameroon, I was not watching football. I didn't even know what football was all about. But you had a CEO who loved football. And each time the Spanish team was playing, he's going to take us to, a place, a nice place where we can watch the team playing, where we can have some drinks after what kind of, like, it was creating a culture because everyone was invited. The all the staff, actually, even the ladies that were cleaning were invited. So just imagine you being someone who is cleaning in an organization and being invited to have fun with your boss and your other colleagues, despite the hierarchy level. It's kind of creating a favorable environment, actually. So I think that is very important for us to also think about the harmonization and the shared values and how they are practically put in place. And also we have the skills, the building of the skills of the people who are working. How do we build the skills? How do we enable them? Because when we see an organization as a living structure that is independent, we are coming as players. We are coming here to see how far we can go, how far we can innovate, how far, what I mean, we are coming to test ourselves. So
Right.
it's kind of like a place that enables us, like, yeah.
Right, you're right. It's the freedom of expression within the organization and and the platform which is set. You're right. I mean, when the organization, the team leader or the CEO sets up a strategy to involve all your staff to motivate them, actions. I would say actions should speak louder than words. I always love that statement because you talk too much, but then actually what are you implementing on the ground? That's important. How do your strategies really takes a practical step in the organization by implementing key frameworks in your organization? We are coming to the concluding part of today's discussion, Esther. It was, I mean, the time has just flown by,
I
and
know.
every discussion I would like to end with something which is I would say which is very close to my heart, and also which is an element in every organization: the artificial intelligence part. AI, the boom of AI is everywhere. Organizations are really feeling that heat factor. Many people are losing their jobs. Although AI can't replace human, we all know that. But then, how important it is to the organization to upskill themselves and learn about AI as soon as possible in organization. Would you like to share some thoughts?
Definitely, definitely. I think AI is going to revolutionize the way we interact, the way we work, but it's also a great tool that can enable us to scale rapidly. Actually, the world is becoming like a real small village, and we can have impact wherever, and AI can be a tool that can enable us to do that. But as I said, it's a tool. And the most important thing we should know with AI is that it can help us, or break us. So how do we use the tool? How do we implement AI in our work? We don't have to, bring out all the different AI tools that are available in our organization. Everything depends on our strategy. Everything depends on where we are going to, and also everything depends on how we are allocating the resources for that, because you just can't, hear about AI and say, "Oh, let me just implement everything AI in my company. Let me fire everyone." As I said on LinkedIn the other day, they say, "Read McKinsey. These are 10 prompts that can help you." They can help you, but the brain is not. The brain is not. So you need a management consultant, even if you have AI, to help you think in another way. So I don't ever think that AI is going to replace humans or whatever, but it's a tool that can enhance organizations. So yeah, I don't know what your take is on.
So my take on AI is exactly what you said. AI is not going to replace human.
Yeah.
It is a tool and it is going to help human. I would say people have built AI. People have built artificial intelligence in all aspects. Every minute, every second, new developments are coming. I personally use a lot of apps in my daily works like Claude or Notion. ChatGPT has become common. It is all good for collecting resources, getting ideas, gathering information, uh, helping with a lot of links which we cannot find in other online searches
Yeah.
and insights. So it is like a tool, as you mentioned. It is like helping you. It is like your third hand, I would say. We have two
Mm.
hands, and this is the third hand or the third eye, I would say. So, and the second brain, I would say, it's an agent
Mhm.
for you, working for you. It's exactly an agent working for you, day and night, 24 by 7, 365 days, without complaining. It's just figuring out with the prompts you give, giving you insights with the right prompting, giving you insights and helping in your research. That's my take on it. I mean, it's not above that. Still, your intuitions as a human, your intuitions, your judgment, your
Mhm.
scrutinization power, your assortment power between the right and the wrong, what is needed for me, what is needed for the organization, what is not needed for the organization, instead of just copy chat. I've seen many things just copied from that particular chat box and put it in your policy. It's not like that. Doesn't work like that. Policies has to be framed without AI. It has to exactly have human factor. And as a management consultant, you would relate more than because more that because you have worked closely with the management or you have closely worked with the organization. You can feel that pulse factor. AI is not everything. AI is something. Organizations, it helps organization in many ways. In many ways, I'm dead sure that organization perform 10x more faster with AI,
Yeah. Yeah.
10x or maybe 20x, but then it's not going to replace human judgment. Human judgment is
Exactly.
always there. So let me come to the concluding part. Esther, how can people connect with you online? I know you are available online always. How can people connect with you from Cameroon, from rest of the world, from this part of the world as well, to talk to you, to share a common platform with you? How can people connect with you, Esther?
Okay, so I'm available at LinkedIn, as you know, Esther Haute Kamoa. But you can also check the website www.demonconsulting.com. So that's the website of the consulting firms, and I'm waiting and I'm hoping to, connect with all and to share, to learn, to grow. Because I have to say one thing that I've learned, or one thing that I've discovered is that each time I have a new client or each time I interact with people, there's always something that I learn, and that's why I love learning. I love connecting to learn, and yeah.
Yeah, learning
And also,
doesn't
I
stop.
just wanted to say, yes, they can connect with me. But one thing you said concerning AI that just sparked me was that with AI, organizations can now unleash the creative potential of their employees. Now with AI, they will not focus on those difficult or those repetitive tasks or whatever, but now is the moment for organizational leaders to really tap into the inner potential of the employees, because those employees, they are gold actually. They have so much that they can give, and now that they have a little time, you know, it can be used
Absolutely.
perfectly to grow the company.
Absolutely. Yeah, before it used to take maybe 8 hours, 9 hours of your work. Now the same work it can complete in 1 hour to 2 hours. So that's the power of AI. Even a 1 hour video session like we are talking can be transcribed into 10 within a 10 minutes or 5 minutes text format using AI. So people can know the takeaways, what exactly Esther says today. So the power of AI is huge. We can't deny it. But then
Yeah.
again, it is great talking with you, Esther. Thank you, big thank you to Esther who has joined us. Wishing all the best in your career and have a great day ahead. All the best. Thanks a lot for joining today.